These are called yo-yos, and they were circles of fabric that were gathered into rosettes, and then the rosettes are sewn together, and people made them as summer coverlets for in their homes. Coverlets for beds, or they'd throw it on the back of a sofa, something like that, just to pretty up the house. You can whip up a stack like this in an evening and then spend another evening putting them together. And so if you're committed to getting your coverlet done, it wouldn't take but maybe a month or so to do one.
It's actually our third annual Quilters Weekend, and we have a couple of dozen vendors and quilt guilds here. They're here to display information about how to become a quilter, or to actually sell quilt kits, and to also just do regular supplies for people who do quilting. So it's a little bit of for quilters and for people who just may be interested in becoming quilters. We have a both combination of vendors, people who sell supplies for quilt guilds, but we also have here this weekend guilds, people who have small groups of individuals that get together and they do all the quilts and they create the quilts together, kind of like a coffee group. We want people to understand that there's a really rich history of quilting here in Pittsburgh, but it's not only the traditional patterns that you would see, like say from pioneer women, but it was actually also quilts of a new younger generation, and then of course the rich history of African American quilting here in Pittsburgh as well, that's been around for a very long time. So that's what the Nia Guild and the G's Bend quilts are doing this weekend. So we're trying to tell both sides of Pittsburgh's history in quilting.
These two quilts are about flower gardens, and the reason they are important is they initiated themselves out of an understanding of the Great Depression and people doing victory gardens. They're created by Agnes Sloan, and memories of her aunt who did a victory garden in order for her and her 6 or 7 brothers to survive the Great Depression in Pittsburgh, as kids were being shuttled back and forth from the South to relatives who had a little bit more so that they could survive. The significance of this particular show is a connection between Pittsburgh women of color and G's Bend, Alabama. We've been going there for now 4 years, and part of that process for us is about quilting, and part of it is about attaching ourselves to a legacy that allows us to understand who we are in a way that isn't accessible to us any longer. Because of their geography, they've been really isolated, and they look more like our ancestors looked than we do in terms of lifestyle, so it's very helpful for us to go there and commune with them. The deal is that we go down and we live the way they live, we eat what they eat, we stay in one of their old farmhouses, and what we do every day is quilt.